Back to like YouTube boomer talk, right?
Let's go.
You talked about, constantly learning, constantly seeing what's out there.
Yeah.
There must have been a point when you're just like, I am so out of touch right now.
Oh,
because I constantly feel that. Sometimes I'm like, I get YouTube, I get the algorithm, I get all the content, I get what people want to watch. Sometimes you just see something and you're like, okay, I am a boomer.
You see that one popular video and you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why this?
There's this one channel called Ouija PG. Okay. Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay. So I don't know how they do it. They got they have a 3D CG rig of Luigi, and they animate him and his face to react to things, or at least this is what the channel was a few years ago. I don't know what they're doing now.
Okay.
So he was reacting to things with Luigi sound effects. I'm like, wow, whoa, and it was just like a reaction channel by Luigi, and I was like, and some of them had millions of views, and I was like, this is so bizarre. That sounds incredible. But I loved it.
That sounds incredible.
I reached out, I followed him on Twitter. I was like, this shit, keep it up. This shit's sick. But it was so weird, and I was like, there is always something to learn about YouTube.
Yeah.
There's always some weird corner.
Yeah.
And, I mean, now you're exploring that as well.
Now you're exploring.
Yeah. And those are the types of people that I really, really enjoy talking to, where it's like this community that's doing this thing that many people would just think is bizarre. Like, there's actually something to it, and why does it catch on? And we could talk about the emotional aspects of like the connection that people make, and why do you think this is popular?
I think it's just really refreshing. I mean, obviously lately on the internet, and even when you started it was very combative, and everyone was always at each other's throat. And I think it just came out at a time and kind of hit the right note of just like, let's just talk. Let's just learn about each other.
Just be open.
Yeah. And I think it's, I mean, the success, I mean, it shows that the audiences wanted that kind of content. Like, people are curious about all the types of different things, be it pony players.
In saying that,
I want to know that now. Like, I want to know why.
In saying that, though, there have been a couple of videos I've seen from yours where you do kind of bring back that like old school, like a little bit cynical type of interviewer type thing. Like, the one about like you interviewing time travelers, for instance. Like that one was like a little like, I saw like the little bit of the cynical side of it, which was just as entertaining.
You have to be.
You have to be.
That was right after the Flat Earthers episode. So I didn't quite detach from that side of it. But I feel like now if I were to approach that again, the topic that I'm like a little bit like, I think I would just outright say, this seems completely unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have people telling you that, and how do you feel about that?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's so many more interesting conversations to have about that. And I think a lot of people are either afraid to tell someone that their shit's whack, or all they want to do is tell them that their shit's whack, and they don't want to hear why they do what they do.
Right.
I think that there's like, if you could just be transparent with anyone, really, like if you could just have a conversation with anyone about why they do what they do, you can make some kind of a connection regardless of who the person is, except Hitler, not Hitler.
Damn, they grow up so fast. He's maturing.
How do you feel about TikTok? Because if there's one thing that does make me feel like a boomer and out of touch, it is just TikTok itself.
Yeah.
Have you thought about venturing into that?
I have a TikTok channel.
Really?
Yeah. TikTok, right?
Yeah, it does really well with just clips from my interview series cut down, and
we did that as well.
Does it work for you guys?
Yeah.
Well. I think that the thing about TikTok is that there is an audience for everything. So you might log on and think this is fucking weird shit, but then there is a corner of the internet that is for you on TikTok, and their algorithm is really good at feeding you content eventually. If you sift through enough garbage for enough time, it eventually will find the thing that sits.
My favorite category of TikTok videos is somebody complaining about something really specific, and then someone's like, "Hi, I'm the expert on that. Actually, this is actually why it works." And he's like, "Who's the toenail expert? Where did you come from?" Like,
it's literally IRL Reddit, right? Toenail expert here. Let me explain to you.
It's just like the strangest experts all come out, and they're all good looking. Like that's the other thing. Everyone who is like an expert on something is just amazing looking.
Yeah.
Like, there is always an expert about everything.
And they look amazing.
And they always look amazing.
It's like why did you have to be so good and charming?
Did they become good looking because they're an expert? Or which one came first?
They became an expert, then they had the time to go and work out and take care of themselves.
Or is it that most people that look good are bound to be experts?
It's like, I used to be a model, now I'm a toenail expert.
It is really crazy. But it's such a cool platform, but it makes me feel really old.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I thought it was going to die.
I think everyone when it was bought, when it was Musically.
I thought it was going to go down the Vine route.
Yeah.
Musically was the thing, and everyone was doing the Musically like cringe compilations.
Right,
I just
right.
thought, this is for kids, and then
Yeah.
TikTok blew up, and then wow, everyone was wrong. I think everyone thought it was going to die.
Yeah.
When everyone was just like that lip syncing or doing dances, and it's just like, oh, look at this funny thing the kids are doing.
The replies, man.
Anthony was like, I did that so many years
I
ago.
got my career that way.
They took my shit.
I think it's the replies and the ability to share the music so easily. Was a game changer, I think.
Yeah.
And it made editing kind of, accessible to editing, very accessible to beginners and people who don't know it. It's like, just slide this thing across, chop the video, chuck it in, put this music over it. And you want a funny filter? We've got that too.
True.
Yeah.
So it kind of made it more like less scary. I mean, you open up like DaVinci Resolve and you just have a panic attack. You're like, what the fuck is this? This makes no sense. Adobe Premiere, it makes zero sense if you don't watch 5 hours of YouTube tutorials.
Right.
So I feel like it kind of made it like very accessible in a way that kind of just worked.
And TikTok is always changing their shit.
Yeah.
If you look at TikTok now versus a year ago, it looks very different. And before that, and the features that they add, they are doing the upkeep. Vine, I think it was clear why Vine died for many reasons. One being that you couldn't make money on it, but also they were not like keeping it up. They were not updating it. And unfortunately or not, things on the internet, platforms need to constantly be updated to go where people are wanting it to go.
Yeah.
Because it is ultimately for people, right?
Yeah.
Instead, Vine opted to be like, what if we made a sequel to Vine? Let's make a Vine 2.
Did they ever do that?
No.
Were those rumors or were those legit?
They were legit. Yeah. Vine was like, we're coming back with Vine 2, and people were like,
and then TikTok was like, nah.
Yeah, TikTok was like, no, we got this. Don't worry.
We're way ahead of you.
Yeah.
Well, I find it really weird because like I feel like now TikTok is what YouTube was like 10, 15 years ago, right? Where like remember when back in the day where YouTubers would try to get on TV, which was like the old media, in order to legitimize themselves, and now it's like TikTokers trying to become YouTubers
to legitimize themselves.
And it's been so weird just seeing that transition.
That's so true. Yeah, I guess it's because the platform is so easily accessible.
Yeah.
You were saying that anyone could jump on there and you can build an audience on there. People can find you. The algorithm is very good. So it's basically like if early YouTube had an algorithm that fed people content that was directly relevant to them.
Yeah. And I think it's also like the barrier for entry for YouTube now. I feel like even though, YouTuber is like, you can make anything on YouTube and it will be successful, still like the quality of content on YouTube now is so much higher than it was 15 years ago.
We're in like the Mr. Beast era where everything has to be $100,000. I did this. I fucking stayed up for 1 week straight. It's like, all right, okay. I can't compete with that. Because I just don't want to do that.
Have you seen any of Ryan Trehan's stuff?
I have.
So I feel like he's been reinventing what YouTubers can now expect to do on the platform, because he's taking some elements of the Mr. Beast style with thumbnails that look very nice and clean, and he has an elevated concept. For this whole thing, and it feels like a video game. It feels like you're watching this person's journey unfold in front of you, and you feel like you can't click away because you never know what's going to happen at any turn. But yet it is still a vlog, and he can still, because it is a vlog where the whole idea is that it's low produced. He's able to make one a day.
It's quite nice. Just watching it, and you're like, this is like nice. I just feel like it's not too crazy. I obviously
it's
love
nostalgic.
I love watching a Mr. Beast video, but my God, I feel like I'm a cog in a machine.
Yes.
Like it's just it's so much.
And there's so much streaming and text. And it feels like a refined, modernized vlog that has kind of like an elevated game plan.
The thumbnails are just
the thumbnails kill it. And I never would have thought that a vlog thumbnail, which is not, clickbait, because it's not clickbait, can look so good.
Right?
It's
I don't know who does.
Yeah, like I remember when where back when YouTuber vlogs were just, you put on any digital camera, handheld camera, and then Casey Neistat came along and just used a DSLR and made basically like mini short films every day. And people were like, what? You can do that? That's possible? And then everyone tried to be Casey Neistat for a while.
And then he burnt out.
I mean,
he was every day. When he used to talk about his schedule, he was like, I'd wake up at 4 a.m. and I'm editing it on the plane. I'm like, what the fuck?
But I think what we can learn from that experience is that, if you have something good, you don't need to overdo it. If you want it to have any longevity, part of the game plan is to figure out a way for it not to take up your entire life. I interviewed Markiplier and he was like, burnout is when people aren't refilling their bucket. They're constantly scooping out of their bucket for their content and they're not refilling it because they're not living a life outside of that. You need to have that balance.
Yeah. Have you ever been burnt out?
Yes, absolutely.
I would have been shocked if you said no.
Never. Always a creative.
17 years strong, baby.
I was trying to be polite. The question should be, so when did you burn out?
You should have just said it. Honestly, you should have just said it like that. Many different times, and every single time is when I felt overworked. And then once it became like part of a company, overworked, underappreciated. Felt like I wasn't being like my opinions didn't quite contribute to the creative.
Right.
But then also outside of that, I was burnt out on my own outside of Smosh after I left and decided to do my own thing.
Right.
For a lot of that time when the views were dropping, I was also burnt out. So it makes sense that people were not wanting to watch the content of someone who's burnt the fuck out by their own content. That's not fun to watch. There's a feeling you can feel when someone is burnt out by their content.
And then when you go to the actual video and the top comment is like, he's run out of ideas.
I'm like, fuck you, dude. I got so many ideas. And I just sit there and I'm like, I have no ideas. They were right.
Shit. Call me out.
But I think I really started to reframe what was important to me, and then I started like not taking it as seriously, not putting as much of my time into it, and I was able to live a life outside of it and have thoughts that were separate from my work. And I think that's when it kind of helped reinvigorate to a certain